Hello, we'd like to share an update as the year comes to a close from Gannon's Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Steering Committee. I'm Nicole Lossie, the Social Media and Digital Engagement Manager at the university and member of the JEDI Steering Committee. In the fall of 2020, the committee was formed and set forth with an initial charge of creating an institutional action plan after the assessment and discernment process, identifying ways to involve all colleagues and students in supporting this work, and coordinating ways to implement ideas for immediate action while formalizing the long-term institutional plan. After its creation, the steering committee began progressing on defining its mission, terms, and an action plan while forming a student advisory committee. In 2021, working groups were defined and began meeting regularly, while work began on a campus climate survey and bias reporting tool needs designated as immediate priorities. Now, in the spring of 2022, the committee is poised to continue making recommendations and priorities based on university-wide input, prioritizing resource allocation, and continuing the working group model to increase progress. Breaking down the work of these teams, the Institutional Plan Committee collaborated with University President's leadership team to identify major target areas of enhancement at Gannon, to sustain a welcoming and supportive environment for diverse students and employees, and to enhance communication from the university regarding diversity. Justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are central and essential to fulfilling Gannon's mission, to living out our common purpose and service standards, and to what it means to be a Catholic institution.
Hi, my name is Lori Lindley, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Steering Committee. We'd like to share updates on specific working groups, including teams focused on the institutional plan, campus climate and assessment, communications, employee recruitment and retention, bias and discrimination reporting processes, professional development, student recruitment and retention, gender identity and language, student development, and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Resource Hub. Beginning with the institutional plan. In the spring of 2022, this team submitted a 3-year plan to the Board of Trustees and President's leadership team, and saw the proposal for the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion approved and slated to be launched in the fall of 2022, as well as the approval of the position for a Director for Diversity and Inclusion with a search led by Paul Perrine. They'll also work toward providing additional resources for faculty and staff development in DEI. For our campus climate and assessment, this spring the survey was redeployed to increase the response rate and to try to gather a more representative sample of the Gannon student population. Responses were generally positive regarding a sense of belonging at Gannon and perceptions of campus related to diversity, but there's more work to be done. We have held a forum for in-depth presentation of the results of the employee survey, but if you missed it, there will be future opportunities for discussion. Up next, we are planning for the next survey deployment, how to increase response rate and representation in student responses.
Hi, I'm Dr. Megan Waller, and I've worked to lead the Gender Identity and Language Working Group and its 9 subgroups. This spring, we've worked on a restroom audit in Erie and Ruskin, drafting a proposal to convert signage on all single restrooms to all gender. I'm pleased to relay that the President's leadership team approved the proposal, and the single restroom signs across both campuses will be converted to all gender over the summer. We also created an educational resource hub on gender and sexuality through the Nash Library website, and have worked to facilitate inclusive technology discussions across campus, including the designation of preferred names and pronouns. Up next, goals include creating brief guides on inclusive classroom practices, email signatures, pronoun usage, and more, gathering information on affinity housing for LGBTQ+ students and other inclusive practices, such as support for transitioning students, collaboration with the Queer Collective, reinstituting safe zone training, and more.
In communication, DEI internal and external websites are now live and can be found in the About section of the Gannon.edu homepage, as well as the my.gannon.edu portal. Plans for marketing and communications leadership and support for JEDI are enhanced and ongoing. Up next, the team is working to finalize plans to regulate JEDI and DEI updates, website maintenance, and more, as well as developing a plan for regular student and employee forums and small group listening sessions.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Gausman, and I've led our employee recruitment and retention and professional development working groups. These teams are passionate and committed to finding ways to support and develop employees and creating a culture of inclusivity on our campuses. With this in mind, these teams have researched best practices and provided recommendations for strengthening our new hire process, which includes requesting diversity statements from applicants and requiring implicit bias training for search committees and all new employees. DEI information has been incorporated into the newly revised Gannon Experience employee onboarding process, and a framework is being established for regular professional development offerings. We are building on the DEI series of workshops and initiatives of the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences to launch a university-wide book club with discussion groups on a variety of DEI topics and hold workshops, particularly around our recommendation to require a DEI inclusivity statement on course syllabi. Going forward, these teams will continue to work with human resources, evaluating and implementing these recommendations, as well as to develop employee affinity groups and a diversity advocates program. We invite you to strengthen Gannon's culture of inclusivity by engaging in these opportunities as they become available.
Hi, I'm Dizzy Herder, Director of Enrollment at the Ruskin campus. I co-chair, along with Charmaine Wilson, the Student Recruitment and Retention Working Group of JEDI. Today I'm going to provide a quick update of what our working group has done. We spent much of the spring semester collaborating with Enrollment Services to review our current recruitment strategies to find opportunities to enhance our focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our team reviewed touchpoints students have across divisions at the university from the moment they learn about Gannon to graduation. We plan to develop student resources to support diversity while connecting campus life at Gannon with the City of Erie and Gannon in the Tampa Bay region. There is also a strong interest in hosting multicultural lunch and learns. We also reviewed retention data and supported content for the Gannon 101 with the new DEI section incorporated into the introductory course experience. We collaborated with global, graduate, and undergrad admissions to gain a better understanding of their energy and thoughts on the progress. An example, graduate admissions will identify and prioritize additional DEI efforts during recruitment events while including DEI information and publications. We are also set to look forward towards future goals of creating a holistic, direct marketing and communications effort geared towards a diverse student population and prioritize DEI focus among new and current hires in undergrad and graduate admissions. In closing, I wanted to share that 40.2% of the Ruskin student population represent a racial ethnic minority. The state of Florida continues to offer Gannon the opportunity to blossom its program offerings and community outreach to meet the needs of our diverse society. Our team will work hard to ensure student happiness and comfort in campus life with each new generation of learners.
I'm Charmaine Wilson, leading student development. Our working group spent the spring of 2022 gathering student input with a desire to engage in difficult conversations, leading to the need for a safe space to do so, and generating ideas about how to fill these gaps. Up next, the team will work to implement a monthly series called Tonight's View, on topics such as equity versus equality, critical race theory, social economic diversity, and more. We look forward to collaborating on future planning with the new Director of Diversity and Inclusion, with the clubs and organizations on campus.
Dean Paul Perrine leads the Bias and Discrimination Reporting Form and Process Group. They have worked to review best practices and drafted a bias incident form. Up next, a draft of the form and processes will be shared with both the steering and student advisory committees, President's leadership team, and others, and a group will be identified to review submissions and develop support for individuals reporting incidents of bias.
I'm Mary McDermott, and today I'm representing the resource group of the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Steering Committee.
I'm Jessica Mando from the Nash Library and Student Learning Commons. Together, we have collaborated to understand and expand existing resources that address diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've listened to the needs of the Gannon community, and over the past few months, we've reviewed internal and external websites and assessed content and resources. We have launched the JEDI educational resource page, available now online.
Up next, we are finalizing short and long-term goals for the creation, maintenance, and sustainability of these resources while continuing to work with Nash Library and CEDL. This is an evolving process that requires our continued attention to the resources provided in alignment with Gannon's mission and Catholic identity.
With this in mind, the steering committee and working groups have followed our Gannon message that we believe our diverse community should be an example of tolerance, respect, understanding, and enrichment.
All in the Gannon community are welcome to join in the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion at the university, and all working groups welcome input from across the Gannon family. Be on the lookout for more updates from the JEDI Steering Committee throughout the year.